Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for the next 3 months, October through December of 2025. You have this card that says, make your dreams real. You also have this card that says, time for beginner mind. So yes, you have a completely new brain, if you didn't know that already. Uranus and Gemini, right? It's going to kind of set your ideas on fire, as we've talked about many times in the past, but it's almost like having a new brain. So I feel for a lot of you that it's time to realize that you're in a new place and that you have different, your approach to things, especially like projects, ideas, pretty much anything having to do with yourself as well is, these approaches are new. And so I would be definitely using your brain, your new one, at this time, because it could lead to a lot of success here, Gemini. Your first row is going to represent the main themes that you're going to be dealing with, so we're mixing it up a little bit, and each card is going to represent a theme. You have the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands is kind of like entering into the world or getting out into the world with these, your new self, right? It's like, I don't know, I feel like Gemini is like, it's like imagine if you have been wearing a black shirt for 10 years on YouTube, right? And it's like all of a sudden you're going to start dressing like Elton John, right? Then, that's what Gemini is doing. It's like you've reinvented yourself maybe mentally, and now you're putting yourself out into the world in a sequin shirt. And I don't know, you're going to have to see what people think of it, right? And that's what the Two of Wands is in this reading, is that you're putting yourself out there in a bigger way. And that's exactly what I would do if I were Gemini. I think it's probably the best thing for you to do, especially with Uranus in your sign. Uranus will be retrograding back into Taurus in November, but it doesn't really matter. It's already, entered into Gemini, so the energy is already there. I would also, this is a very good reading, by the way. You probably have the best reading so far. I mean, everybody else, like the towers come up a lot in these readings, stuff like that. So again, your reading is pretty positive, but Two of Wands is great for taking the lead on anything that you want to take the lead on. Your next theme is the Queen of Cups. We are also still in a very spiritual time. We have Neptune is on its way back into Pisces. It'll be there in October. It'll officially retrograde into Pisces. So we have to, listen to our intuition and make extra time to do that. You also have the Two of Cups coming up in your third row. The Two of Cups is like you and your higher self. So communicating with your higher self, and this has come up for a lot of people. Again, doesn't surprise me based off the astrology that we need to kind of tap into our higher self more and be more, come at things from a spiritual perspective, especially right now. Again, there will be two sides. There are two, Gemini is the twins. Uranus and Gemini, we will see both sides, good and bad, and everything in between, right? So obviously you want to make sure that you're coming at things from the proper perspective so that you can create positive change in the world. And, the Queen of Cups kind of wants us to do that. She really follows her heart. And so I think that's a good theme for you to follow through on here, Gemini. There are several things that are going on astrologically that I think have triggered Queen of Cups to come up all the time. Uranus and Taurus being one of them, Neptune and Pisces being the other. So we really are in a very heart-based time. I think the trick is that maybe what our heart is telling us to do doesn't make logical sense. Maybe we think, if I, work on this idea or this business or this go get that career that really would fulfill me, I'm not going to be able to support myself. So, I think we are in a time where we have to overcome 3D fear, like whatever that is for you, not having enough money, not being able to feed yourself, stuff like that. Because the secret is, if you really follow your heart, you will be able to. You will be perfectly fine. You have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is curiosity, right? It is an amazing time for Gemini to be curious. Again, you're not to beat a dead horse here, but Uranus and Gemini is very innovative. We also have Pluto and Aquarius, which is also very innovative. So we kind of have like double innovation going on here. And kind of just being willing to explore new ideas of life in general will make you a lot more successful. You don't even have to commit to anything with the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is research. It is just looking into new ideas and things that excite you in the moment and kind of see where they lead. And also Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces very much about inspiration. And so we have to work on things as long as we're inspired to work on those things. If we're not, then we're going to struggle. And really, it's pretty simple, because if you're not inspired by something, you're just probably not going to be able to do it anyway. So, that's pretty much it there, Gemini, with those 3 cards. But we are going to clarify. So let's see what comes up. With the Two of Wands, you have the Knight of Pentacles. I think getting started is hard right now. Probably all of us have tons of ideas about the future, about our lives, things we want to get started on. But we do have Pluto retrograde as well until the middle of next month. And so I feel that Pluto retrograde could be, Pluto retrograde is about like going deep into something. And we also have a lot of other astrology going on. South Node in Virgo. I think South Node in Virgo wants us to be perfect when pretty much perfection is impossible. So we might have good ideas, but getting to the point where we actually do them is part of the challenge. And that's the Knight of Pentacles. He could make a lot of progress, but he's the only knight in the tarot that isn't making a move. He needs to plant seeds in this field behind him, and those seeds will grow. And you have the Ace of Pentacles right in front of it. It's like you have a golden egg in your life, and if you would just, sit on that egg or whatever, it would probably hatch into a golden goose here, Gemini, that would hatch a bunch of golden eggs, but you have to actually do it, right? With the Queen of Cups, you have the Queen of Wands. Yes, again, also next year, Saturn and Neptune moving back into Aries. Next year, you're going to hear me say a lot that, being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want is the success. The other thing is we have to start things with finishing them, in mind, right? You can't just start something necessarily and dabble with that energy. You have to start and be like, I'm going to finish this. And if you do that, then you will. But if you don't, then you probably won't. And as a Gemini moon, I know this is a problem, right? As a Gemini moon, I have a million ideas that I start and never finish. So I'm far from perfect, and I definitely have to work on this as well. But I feel that Queen of Wands is saying that you need to become a finisher. Maybe you need to tell yourself that you are a finisher with this card. And with the Page of Swords, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, same thing. A lot of Eight of Pentacles energy at the end of the year here. So Eight of Pentacles is about finishing. He has one more pentacle to complete right here, and then he will be done with his project. So, a big theme for you, Gemini, might be finishing something up that maybe you've already been working on it. Maybe you've already started a project or started working on your health. It doesn't have to be anything related to money. It could be health, a relationship, whatever. And the Eight of Pentacles is about getting it to that finished state. And I feel that's pretty much what the reading is asking you to do in the first row. Next, we're going to look at what you don't see coming. You have this Air card. It says movement, intellect, and freedom. You have this Anger. It says conflict, loss of control, and boundaries. Yeah, it's a great time to have boundaries. I've been saying for months, no road rage at this time. Again, speaking of the astrology, we had, at the beginning of this year, end of last year into this year, we had Mars retrograde in Leo. We just had Mercury go retrograde in Leo. Next year, Jupiter goes retrograde in Leo. It's kind of weird when we have 3 planets, basically, not really one after another, but, we have this cycle of retrogrades in one sign. And the problem is it could be calling back that Mars retrograde energy. And Mars retrograde is really bad for anger, causing arguments, starting fights, things like that. So I would definitely keep an eye on that for sure. And, just make sure that you're not that you would, but still. I think that the movement card with that Air card is saying, make your move. You have the Ace of Pentacles, the Fool, and the Two of Pentacles. Like I said, I get this golden egg or golden seed that you need to plant, and maybe that's what you don't realize is, I feel kind of intuitively what is unexpected is the future potential of something. It's kind of I don't know, the best example I can give you is this channel. It's there are, I never in a million years thought some of the things that would have happened would have come from this channel. I've spoken at events because of this channel. I've had random podcast opportunities, so many things that I could have never predicted. And I'm not trying to be mysterious here or anything, Gemini, but if you're thinking about starting a new project, especially, it's I think what you don't see is all the extra things that go along with it in the future. So it's you really are setting yourself up for your future with this Ace of Pentacles. And, it's almost like you're planting a tree that's going to grow fruit, Next, you have the Fool. So the Fool is about taking a leap of faith, of course. And, the Fool also needs to do something carefully, which is kind of popping into my head. He's standing at the edge of this cliff. Now, there's two ways to read the Fool. One is that he's going to leap off the cliff, and he's just trusting that the universe is going to put a step in front of him. And so he's kind of trusting that the way will appear when he gets started. The other way is that he might be going around this cliff. Like maybe there's a path right here down this way, and he just needs to be careful with what he's doing. And that's kind of what I feel for you more intuitively, where it's like saying, pay attention to the small details at this time, and be careful of small mistakes. I would definitely say with all the retrogrades right now, and plus we're going to have Mercury go retrograde again in November, I would say that if you're going to make a mistake, it's probably going to be something small, like something that you skipped over or didn't do. And, again, I don't really think this is a bad thing. And the thing I always say about Mercury retrograde is like, yeah, we can make mistakes, but usually we learn from those mistakes a lot faster. And also, usually it's not that big of a deal. Usually we just have to go back over something or do something again or do something over, right? But I kind of do feel he is saying that, like, be careful of that. I also feel that if you're about to do something, like work on a project or a business or whatever, he has these tattered sleeves. In the major arcana, we go from the Fool to the World, and these tattered sleeves kind of say he's done it before. That's why his sleeves are falling apart, because he's been on this long journey before. And it's almost like saying to me, to you, that whatever you're thinking about doing with your life right now, that it's like you've done it before. You have the experience, Next, you have the Two of Pentacles. It's like sometimes I feel the Two of Pentacles can come up with a settlement. There are some cards in the tarot that I call clue cards. And the Two of Pentacles, to me, can be a clue for receiving a settlement or getting some sort of settlement. If you are involved in something legal, you do end with the Justice card, so it could be a settlement. But I also feel this is more like the universe is settling with you. If you've been working on something or trying to make progress for a long time, you could almost feel like you're getting a gift from the universe in the form of a settlement. The other thing here, Gemini, is sometimes I feel that the Two of Pentacles is something that's hard to ignore. We have these tiny little waves over here, and then they get bigger as they go across the card. And the waves on the card, I feel, could be that something is getting harder to ignore in your life. Like, not a bad thing either. I feel this is a good thing. It's like if you keep having an idea, for example, that might be like the universe is telling you to go to put the work in to the idea, right? So I definitely would. Also a great card for work hard, play hard, obviously, which we all you have the Eight of Pentacles right here. So I would make sure that you're not burning yourself out, and I would take care of yourself. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Cups, and we have the Two of Cups right next to it. For those of you that are looking for love, your readings lately have definitely had a lot of love in them, so there definitely could be a love connection coming in for you. The love connection could, like I said, it could be like a tree, like has fruit, like a peach tree or something, where there's more to it than just the connection. So it's like you're getting bonuses here, Gemini, from the things that you're investing in. Yeah, with the Fool, you have the Chariot. Chariot is blasting through things. The Chariot would be a little bit more of a reckless energy with the Fool. Could be. And, but, also maybe that's not a bad thing with the Chariot, because the Chariot, the reason he's moving so quickly is because he's in alignment with what he wants. Like, he's a perfect match energetically to what he is trying to create in his life. So, again, like I said, maybe this isn't a bad thing that you're charging forward, or maybe you are taking a leap of faith off the Fool, with the Fool card towards something, and it, looks like it's going to work out. The Chariot is also about setting yourself apart, and definitely with Uranus in your sign. I mean, this is going to be a big theme for you, over the next 8 years or whatever until 2033. You're probably, like, didn't I say that? It's like you're like Elton John. I don't know why I use that as an example, but it's like you're stepping out into the world with your unique takes, or with your unique, you're being more unique, or you're willing to be more eccentric. And I there's something about that in this reading. I think it would be good. With the Two of Pentacles, you have the Justice card. There you go. I literally was getting settlement here, and you have the Justice card here. So, it's funny that I connected those two earlier. So I feel a lot of you, this could be like a legal matter coming to a conclusion, or you could be getting a settlement if you are involved in something like that. Like I said, it could also be more karma. If you've been, putting work into something for a long time, or if you've been investing time, effort, energy into something for a long time, that could be more the settlement. Like, you're seeing progress. Maybe it feels like a gift from the universe. Next, we're going to look at challenges to overcome over the next 3 months. You have this fiery climax approaches in this card. You cannot make this up. It says, show the world the real you. I'm telling you right now, you need to bust out that gold sequin shirt and wear it. You need to, put your own unique self out into the world. Maybe this reading should be titled "Be Eccentric, Be Weird." I think that it's time. Maybe it's time for Gemini weirdness, more of it in the world, right? And that's kind of the feeling I was getting at the beginning of the reading. And so that's definitely something you could focus on. I don't think it's much of a challenge. I mean, it's like, sure, maybe you're worried about being judged or people judging you for your unique takes. But again, Uranus and Gemini, that's exactly what the world needs right now, is your hot take, Gemini hot takes, right? You have the Two of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Six of Pentacles. Love could be a little bit, it's like there's love here, but it could still be a challenge, right? I think for you, Gemini, maybe the challenge is letting someone into your life. Especially for those of you that haven't had love for a while, sometimes, we get to a place where we're kind of like comfortable with how we are. And we're like, do I really want to invite someone in to, mess up what I've got going on right now? And that's kind of the feeling I get off of this Two of Cups energy, is that some of you might be asking that question. I don't know. I still feel like you're going to, though. So, you might be asking the question, but you probably will. The other challenge that comes up with the Two of Cups is listening to your higher self. This can be you and your higher self. We have the Staff of Hermes here, which is Mercury, and which can represent communication. And Two of Cups, to me, is a card of, communicating with your higher self. So, making time to listen, or doing things to listen, like meditate, go for a walk, do whatever you do, to listen to your higher self might be a small challenge. Next, you have the Wheel of Fortune. It's like working on what's important is kind of what's popping into my head here. The Wheel of Fortune is a good card. It can represent a change in your fortunes, obviously. But the thing with the Wheel of Fortune is we have to double down on the good stuff and get rid of the bad stuff right away, right? And so maybe kind of what's popping into my head for you is like understanding the things in life that actually work. Meaning that we all can say that we know what to work on in work and business and all that other stuff, but it's like, do you really know what's working in your life or not? And that's kind of the question I have for you on the Wheel of Fortune. And again, I can't answer that question for you. You have to look at what the results you're getting and make sure that you're getting good results. The other thing is that maybe being a little bit more adventurous. I don't know. This card is Sagittarius, and so that's popping into my head. Sagittarius is your opposite sign. I always encourage people to work with their opposite sign energies, and so again, being more adventurous, putting yourself out there, showing the world the real you, all that is kind of popping into my head with this Wheel of Fortune, and that's what I would do. I also wonder, the other thing that's popping into my head here is like some of you might be, it's like you want to change your fortunes. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't want to be more fortunate? But it's like believing that you can might be part of the challenge. Next, you have the Six of Pentacles. It's like not settling for crumbs is definitely kind of something that you should be focusing on right now. Like if you knew that you were capable of 100 times more in life or getting 100 times more of a result, you probably would. But right now, it's like maybe you're settling for less in some area of your life, and that's definitely something I would focus on with the Six of Pentacles. Also, kind of like with that Wheel of Fortune, Six of Pentacles, he's giving to this person, not this person, but he's giving to something that works. So I think that's really pretty much your one challenge here. I don't think you have a lot of challenges. I feel it's like one thing, knowing what to invest in. With the Two of Cups, you have the Death card here. So I feel that for some of you, you could be attracting a connection that's very different than what you're used to. And Two of Cups is meant to represent two people who are very different. Now, a lot of people over the past few years have been getting the Two of Cups. Like, it seems to be a theme, and I do think love has changed astrologically for sure. And so we all could be like needing to look for love in a different way. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Two of Pentacles again. So we have it twice going this way. Again, Two of Pentacles is kind of like juggling, spinning plates. He's doing too much. And maybe that's what you're trying to do, is make things too complicated. And the Wheel of Fortune really wants you to do things. Again, it's a challenge, but these are challenges to overcome. So, it could be a challenge, but maybe you need to focus more on things that actually are working. I also wouldn't overcomplicate things. Again, the simple answer probably is the answer. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Three of Swords. Yeah, heartbreak, right? Healing from heartbreak. South Node in Virgo right now, plus this eclipse that I'm going to publish this video on the day of the eclipse, the 21st. So, kind of like working on healing or doing things to heal would be a good idea. Maybe it's a little challenge. Maybe there are things that you don't want to look at, but processing those feelings or issues that you've had in the past would be a good idea. And so I would challenge you to do that. Three of Swords is about forgiveness. That can also be a challenge, right? Three of Swords doesn't even say you have to forgive a person directly. It just says you have to forgive them in your heart. And so I would make sure to be practicing forgiveness. Next, we're going to look at the good stuff. Yes, you have this Quieting the Mind card and the Storyteller card. Yeah, your first card is the Spider, right? Which says make your dreams real. But spiders, we say that they weave a web, which could be a story, right? We use that term when talking about telling a story. It's coming up in the good stuff, which is good, but I would make sure that you're telling yourself the story that you want to live. The Quieting the Mind card, the whole entire reading. I mean, all this stuff, the Two of Cups, listening to your higher self, quieting the mind would be a very good idea. You have the Five of Cups, the Page of Wands, and the Justice card. So Five of Cups and the good stuff is about gratitude, right? He needs to be grateful for these two cups. Then he gets this bridge in this castle over here instead of just crying over these three cups that he doesn't even enjoy any longer. So a lot of you are probably being pushed away from something that you don't even want any longer, or you could be grieving the loss of something that you wouldn't even accept back into your life. But, again, coming up in the good stuff, it would kind of say you are turning around. You are focusing on bigger and better things. You have the Page of Wands. I feel there's some sort of process coming in here. Spiders, they weave a web to catch a bug, right? To get their food. They have a process that they follow through on to get the result. The Page of Wands, his process is to follow his enthusiasm, but I kind of get that feeling that some of you in any area of your life, work, business, health, spiritual stuff, love, there might be simple processes that you could follow that will lead to success. And again, I really feel Six of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, twice, Wheel of Fortune. It's saying that it can be easy. You don't have to come up with complex solutions, and that's what I would focus on here. It's almost like the Wheel of Fortune is saying, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just do what works, right? Which is good. That means that things are going to be simple. You have the Justice card. So definitely some sort of justice. We have it twice. And, I think some of you could be involved in something legal. So you could be closing out a legal cycle over the next few months. With the Five of Cups, you have the Knight of Swords. Quick change coming in for you here. So that's good. If you have been... Five of Cups on a very simple level can represent disappointment. It can just say that you have been disappointed with the results you've been getting in life. And so a lot of you could be overcoming some sort of disappointment quickly. With the Page of Wands, you have the Eight of Swords. The overcomplication is the prison, right? Eight of Swords has a very easy solution, which she just needs to realize there are many ways to solve her problem. So I would just stick to doing things that work right now. I know that sounds overly simple, but it really is that simple. So that's what I would focus on there. And finally, with the Justice card, you have the Five of Wands. Yeah, like I said, if you're involved in some sort of legal dispute or some sort of challenge, then I feel you could be overcoming that challenge, or you could be removing that challenge from your life, or finally bringing it to a conclusion. I also feel like some of you could be getting positive karma. So again, if you were involved in some sort of conflict in the past, you could be, getting some positive karma from that. We're going to look at anything else that wants to come up. You have this Friendship card. People are very important. I mean, they will be for the next 19 years with Pluto and Aquarius. So any new friends, meeting like-minded people, all that is going to be good for you. You have this Manipulation card. This is actually a good card. It's manipulating the energy. It's a card of law of attraction, basically. So I would be, definitely doing that, working with the energy, making sure you're practicing, positive thinking. You have this Optimism card. Yes, you have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is the card of optimism and following your optimism. But remember what I said. It's your opposite sign. Sagittarius is optimism. So I feel being, choosing to be more optimistic, even if it doesn't seem like you should, might be a good idea for you. You have this, here you go. You have this Rebellion card. I think you had this card with me recently, but Uranus and Gemini is rebellion. I mean, it is a rebellious energy. We talked about you wearing a sequin shirt, right? So again, I think embracing your wild side a little bit more, Gemini, embracing that, your wild nature, your rebellious side, and kind of being more eccentric at this time would be a good idea. There's even these two guys look exactly the same. So don't be afraid of rebelling. And finally, you have this enthusiasm card. Again, similar to the optimism card, this card is the sun in Sagittarius. So, and the other one is the moon in Sagittarius. So I think being optimistic, following your enthusiasm would be really good for you. But a pretty simple reading here, Gemini. I almost called you Sagittarius. But looks really, really good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy the next 3 months.